The sea reach of the Thames stretched before us, like the beginning of an interminable waterway. The air was dark above Gravesend, and, further back still, seemed condensed in a mournful gloom, brooding, motionless. Pilgrims walking in the wake of the River Thames, of a slow-moving slave ship, ships of empire, conquest and plunder, ships of exploration, sailing from Deptford, Greenwich and Erith into the heart of darkness. Charlie Marlowe goes up the River Congo looking for Kurtz, a white man with a god complex. It's a familiar story. Pilgrims walking in the wake of the Empire Windrush, arriving at Tilbury Dock. It's Tuesday, June the 22nd, 1948, and 500-odd West Indian settlers come in search of a better life in the mother country. Watch Lord Kitchener on that black and white British Pathé newsreel singing,
London is the place for me. London, this lovely city. You can go to France or America, India, Asia or Australia, but you must come back to London City.
See those elegantly dressed women in their white gloves descending the ship's gangway. They will build the NHS. See those dandified men in their sharp suits, pork pie hats and pocket squares that will slice through the grey smog of Harold McMillan's Never Had It So Good, Britain. Pilgrims walking in the wake of the night, in the afterlife of Windrush, and England is a bitch. By the rivers of Babylon, where we sat down, and there we wept, when we remembered Zion. Born here, I went to Dainford Secondary Boys' School. We had 4 houses: Frobisher, Hawkins, Drake and Nelson. I was in Nelson. And we took pride in our houses, competing and winning at football, cricket and rugby. But I never knew who Nelson, Frobisher, Hawkins or Drake were, except that they were all knighted for their gallantry as privateers and pirates, England's first sea dogs. Behold, Sir John Hawkins' slave ship named Jesus, sailing from West India docks to Africa. He was England's first slave trader, and his coat of arms was an African man tied up with rope. There was in it one river especially, a mighty big river that you could see on the map, resembling an immense snake uncoiled, with its head in the sea, its body at rest, curving afar over a vast country, and its tail lost in the depths of the land. And in my father's beloved Guyana that he called BG, he went looking for his El Dorado, a pork knocker, deep river diving for diamonds in the Essequibo and the Mazaroni. Bounty sails from the East India Company's Deptford shipyard. It's on a mission to the South Pacific, an experiment to bring breadfruit from Tahiti to feed the slaves in the West Indies, but it all got messed up when Fletcher Christian led a mutiny against Captain William Bligh. All of Europe contributed to the making of Kurtz, and, appropriately, the International Society for the Suppression of Savage Customs had entrusted him with the making of a report for its future guidance, and he had written it too. He began with the argument that we whites, and so on and so on. It was simple, and at the end of that moving appeal to every altruistic sentiment, luminous and terrifying, like a flash of lightning in a serene sky. Exterminate the brutes. By the rivers of Babylon, where we sat down and there we wept when we remembered Zion, witness the monuments to the fear of invasion of a siege island mentality. The geometric fortifications of Tilbury Fort, where Queen Elizabeth I knighted her Frobisher and rallied the English fleet to defend her realm against the invading Spanish Armada. See more defensive fortifications against the fascist invasion. Who can't hear must feel. Watch the body of the last English sea dog, Winston Churchill, being carried on a barge up the Thames. They will know colonialists. Their administration was merely a squeeze and nothing more, I suspect. They were conquerors, and for that you want only brute force. Nothing to boast of when you have it, since your strength is just an accident arising from the weakness of others. They grabbed what they could get for the sake of what was to be got. It was robbery with violence, aggravated murder on a great scale, and men going at it blind, as it was very proper for those who tackle a darkness. The conquest of the earth, which mostly means the taking it away from those who have a different complexion or slightly flatter noses than ourselves, is not a pretty thing when you look at it into it too much. Do you see those figures at the bottom of that landscape painting in the pastoral idyll of a slave plantation? Their children will be brought to England and dressed up in fashionable clothes like fashionable toys by fashionable slave plantation owners in their fashionable country houses. Buried in unmarked graves, cat and dog received more respect in death. Their bones in the soil of St. George, their descendants walk around proclaiming purity of blood, oblivious of their ancestors. Many rivers to cross, but I can't seem to find my way over. Wondering I am lost as I travel along the white cliffs of Dover. Growing up, the English countryside seemed like another country. I didn't see anybody who looked like me on TV, walking in this green and pleasant land, and I still don't. We went on church outings to seaside towns like Margate, Great Yarmouth, and Southend, with my Seventh-day Adventist Auntie Darrow singing "What a Friend We Have in Jesus" at the back of the coach. I remember sitting on newspaper to prevent motion sickness. The fairground rides that made me dizzy. The sandwiches made with bread she baked the night before, and cakes with raisins and fairy cakes, fried chicken wrapped in kitchen foil and rice and peas in Tupperware, and lashings of homemade ginger beer and marby. Balloons, and pink candy floss on sticks, sticks of mint-flavoured pink rock candy with Margate running down the middle, souvenir plates and black scrolls that my mum would proudly put up in the front room. Do you see Delroy, Ahmed and me? Boy Scouts from Hackney, Orientarian in Epping Forest, showing off our badges on teal green shirts, uniforms that gave us permission to be not out of place. See me in the same forest on an anti-apartheid charity walk with white liberal comrades, waiting to encounter other walkers that look like them, who will give me that familiar smile that said, "And where are you from?" Went down to the River Jordan, where John baptized free. I said, "Roll, Jordan, roll. Roll, Jordan, roll." Pilgrims walking in the wake of multi-story container ships arriving at London Gateway Port in Essex, bringing consumer goods made with cheap labour from somewhere else. And in Essex, wide boys and fake tan girls wander like it's the only way, while the West Indian midwives who slap their newborn bottoms and the Nigerians who clean their toilets face deportation or being removed to a detention centre over the river in Kent. And refugee Afghan Uber drivers think about the war they left behind, and Eastern European construction workers worry about finding the money to send back home. The day was ending in a serenity of still and exquisite brilliance. The water shone pacifically. The sky without a speck was a benign immensity of radiant fabric hung from the wooded rises inland and draping the low shores in diaphanous folds. So many rivers I have to cross. There are so many still left to cross, and I have to get over some way, somehow. I have to get over. Roll, River Jordan. Roll, River Jordan, roll. Meet me at the bank of the beautiful river. Meet me at the bank of the beautiful river.